I just sailed in MSC's Yacht Club on back-to-back sailings on two different MSC ships, and the first was the best Yacht Club experience we have ever had, but the one that followed ended up being, well, the worst. The same brand and same suite category, but two completely different experiences. Now, the Yacht Club is supposed to be the best of MSC with priority everything, exclusive spaces, elevated dining, and the best crew in the fleet. But what I learned from these two sailings is that while the product may carry the same brand, the ship and the crew can drastically change the experience. And if you're about to spend thousands assuming it'll feel the same every time, well, that assumption could be expensive. Coming off those two sailings, I kept asking myself one question. Was this just a newer ship versus older ship then? Because our experience on the MSC World America was absolutely incredible. And that's the newest ship in the fleet and the home to the largest yacht club MSC has ever built. But my experience on the Divina, which is part of the class of ships that originally launched the yacht club concept, was the exact opposite. On paper, the Divina should have felt more exclusive with a capacity less than half of the World America's yacht club, but that's not how it played out. So in this video, I'm going to show you what actually changed between those two ships, what really determines whether the yacht club feels elevated or just expensive, and how to recognize the difference before you book. Oh, and if we haven't met yet, I'm Evan from Family at Sea. If this is your first time watching my channel, I'm glad you're here, and if you've already been here a while, you already know how much I appreciate you. If you're ready, I am. Let's go. Both sailings departed from Terminal AA at Port Miami, which is MSC's brand new flagship terminal and the largest cruise terminal in the world. On the World America, we walked up to the yacht club tent, handed our luggage to a porter, and within minutes, we were personally escorted through security with no confusion or waiting, just a smooth handoff from one crew member to the next. And in the private waiting area, we were greeted with Prosecco, and before we could even finish it, we were being guided up the gangway. The muster check-in was quick, and moments later, we were stepping into the topsail lounge where we were handed another glass of Prosecco, and within moments, we were making new friends while our cabin was being prepared. The entire experience felt elevated, setting the tone for a luxury cruise experience. But the experience on the Divina could not have been more different. I approached the same exact yacht club tent, but this time there was nobody there to take my luggage, and after waiting several minutes, I had to track someone down myself. Security was straightforward, but once inside the yacht club waiting area in the terminal, there was nobody there handing out Prosecco and nobody there to escort us onto the ship. And the frustrating thing was that guests outside the yacht club were already boarding the ship while we continued to wait and wait. And so eventually I asked, hey, can I just go ahead and board myself? I don't need an escort. I'll be fine. But I was told, no, I'm going to have to wait. And well, eventually one arrived, but by that point, more people had shown up. So it was a very large group. As we boarded the ship, we crowded in the elevators on the way to our muster station check-in, shoulder to shoulder, and it honestly felt like we were being herded like cattle. Now look, eventually we made it to the topsail lounge, but this was the most chaotic start of a yacht club experience I have ever had. And thinking about what it was like just a week earlier on the World America and comparing that to what I just experienced on the Divina, it was clear from the very beginning that these were going to be two very different yacht club experiences. On paper, the cabins on the two ships were almost identical. Both were yacht club deluxe suites with a queen bed, pull-out sofa, small balcony, and a comfortable bathroom layout. And functionally, they gave you roughly the same square footage and the same general setup, but they definitely did not feel the same. The suite on the MSC World America was noticeably more modern with light grays, clean lines, and updated finishes versus darker burgundy tones on the Divina that made things feel far more outdated than they should have for a ship that was only built in 2012. And on the World America, we had USB outlets on both sides of the bed, whereas on the Divina, the only power outlets were on the desk on the other side of the room. And the other big difference that was on the World America, we had a walk-in shower instead of a shower tub combo on the Divina. Now, preferences may vary there, but I'll take a walk-in shower over a bathtub every time. And then there was night one on the Divina when the music from the topsail lounge was so loud it genuinely sounded like a live concert inside the cabin. And as midnight approached, I called the concierge desk to ask when the music would wrap up so I could get some sleep, but it was so loud they couldn't hear me on the phone, so I had to get dressed and walk down to the desk to ask in person. Now, to their credit, whatever happened that first night was fixed after that, but it was a reminder that hardware matters, and on an older ship, you're dealing with older bones that's more likely to have problems. Yacht Club pricing has climbed fast, and over the past 18 months, we've seen fares increase by as much as 50%. But if you're flexible with dates, you can still find a Yacht Club Deluxe suite on either of these ships for around $7,000 for two people on a 7-night sailing. But during peak seasons, that same cabin can push north of $11,000. But keep in mind, with Yacht Club, you're not paying just for the cabin. You're paying for the service, the amenities, and access as well. You get the Top Sail Lounge, which is my favorite lounge on any mainstream cruise ship, the private Yacht Club pool deck, and a dedicated suite restaurant. You'll also get a premium drink package, Wi-Fi for 2 devices per person, a 24/7 concierge team to help you with any questions or bookings on board, a shared butlers? My God. A shared butler, thermal spa access, reserved seating in the theater for the evening shows, a mini fridge restocked daily, and a handful of smaller perks to add up over the weekend. Well, don't forget a partridge and a pear tree. But at that price point, the real question isn't whether it's cheap, it's whether the experience actually delivers. Because a lower fare might get you on board, but the day-to-day experience determines whether it feels worth it. That's exactly why we book through Cruises It. Instead of guessing, you're working with people who understand the ships, the pricing patterns, and how different cabins change the onboard experience. They've saved us thousands over the years and kept us from making choices we would have regretted later. Which is more than like saying for Frank, who once told me, "Evan, I don't need a travel agent, I'll just figure it out." Frank, you lost the deposit on your last cruise because you forgot your final payment date. With their low price guarantee and people who actually care, Cruises It makes booking simpler, cheaper, and a whole lot less stressful. So click the link in the description below or call the number on the screen and tell them Evan from Family at Sea sent you. You'll be glad you did. Dining is where the difference really started to widen. On the World America, the Yacht Club restaurant is a short walk up the signature Swarovski crystal staircase from the Top Sail Lounge. From the moment we walked in for Embarkation lunch, we were immediately greeted by Erkan, who is widely regarded as the best maitre d' on the open seas. He welcomed us like family from the moment we walked in and personally walked us to our table. And moments later, Chef Suresh stopped by to introduce himself, and when he heard that my wife, Mackenzie, is a vegetarian and loves Indian food, he lit up, and every night after that, she was surprised with a new Indian dish that wasn't even on the menu. And then we were excited when Joe Mark, our server, came up to greet us, and we've had him twice on previous sailings, and we didn't realize he was going to be on the ship, and we were so excited to see him. And Neil, Vajish, and the hostess Karen rounded out a team that felt cohesive and genuinely proud of what they were doing. The Road America also adds a second dinner option called La Brasserie, which is a tapas-style restaurant with beautiful ocean views and a much more relaxed atmosphere. It isn't physically inside the Yacht Club, but in the evenings it's reserved for Yacht Club guests, and both the food and the ocean views are excellent, especially the steak they prepare tableside. On the Divina, the dedicated suite restaurant is La Muse, which is located on the opposite end of the ship at the far aft, and getting there means either crossing the windy pool deck or taking a longer indoor route down 8 decks and then back up. When I arrived at La Muse for Embarkation lunch, there was no warm welcome like what we got with Erkan on the World American. Honestly, there was no introduction from the maitre d' during the entire lunch. He never even stopped by to say hello, and the service itself was noticeably slower. In fact, the entire experience felt transactional rather than personal, which is the exact opposite of what we experienced on the Road America. In fact, it was so bad that I did something I've never done before on any other cruise, but I had 5 of my 7 dinners in the main dining room instead of La Muse because both the food and the service there was significantly better. A big part of that was because my server there, Natu, was absolutely amazing, but the ocean views were also far better than the views we had from La Muse, which were a smoking section of an aft pool, which is kind of nasty. But honestly, it was a good reminder that great service isn't guaranteed just by having a sweet keycard. It's the crew who makes the difference, and great crew members exist in all areas of a cruise ship. The Top Sail Lounge is the heart of the Yacht Club. It's where you start your mornings, end your evenings, and spend those in-between moments that define how the week actually feels. On the World America, the space is noticeably larger than the Divina. Now, both lounges face forward, but the World America has expansive windows that flood the room with natural light, and the gray modern color palette keeps it feeling open and airy. There's even an outdoor forward-facing seating area that the Divina simply doesn't have, and it feels like a private observation deck. On the Divina, the bones are similar, but the experience shifts. The burgundy tones there and smaller windows darken the space and make it feel smaller than it is. The Divina was only built back in 2012, but the decor honestly makes it feel like it's a steakhouse from the 90s, or as my kids would call it, the 1900s. Now, one advantage the Divina does have, though, is with the food setup. The Divina rotates a buffet of finger foods throughout the day, whereas the World America offers a smaller, curated menu you can order from, which is not nearly as convenient and honestly not as tasty, but perhaps better for my waistline as I'm less likely to eat those extra calories. Both ships had evening entertainment in the lounge, and this is where the Divina really shined. Cheeto, who performed several nights there, was phenomenal and truly one of the highlights of that cruise. And to be fair, the service in the topsail lounge on both ships was incredible. On the Divina, Henry, who was one of the lounge butlers, was one of my favorite crew members of all time, and his outlook and kind words alone helped reset my mindset after that rough start, which I am truly grateful for. But look, the yacht club isn't just about the lounge. Step outside and you'll find the private pool deck, which is where many guests end up spending most of their sea days. If you were comparing these two ships strictly from a design perspective, the Yacht Club pool deck on the Divina would be the runaway winner. The Yacht Club on the Divina has a much smaller capacity, only holding 150 guests versus more than 400 on the World America, but you'd never know it as you step out onto the pool deck because on the Divina there's tons of outdoor seating that wraps around the forward of the ship, plus a large swimming pool and 2 hot tubs. On the World America, the space is arranged differently, and instead of the pool being the focal point of the space, instead you've got a tiny pool tucked into the back corner with a small hot tub adjacent to it, which are both severely undersized for a yacht club that has nearly 3 times the capacity you'll find on the Divina. But it's not just the pool and the seating that draw people to the yacht club pool decks, though. It's the food and drink as well. On the Divina, food is set up buffet style with a carving station and grill that rotates through a variety of options throughout the afternoon. It's quick and easy if you just want to grab something and get back to your chair. On the World America, lunch happens at the Yacht Club Grill instead, which is a deck below the main pool deck. Now, they'll allow you to order a limited number of items to be delivered up top, but if you want the good stuff, they make you go downstairs for a seated experience where you order from a menu and food is brought to your table. It's a slower pace, but still a really good option if you're not in a hurry. And one quick tip here, order the ribeye steak and ask them to put it on a sub roll. It's not on the menu, but just trust me on this one. And the other big difference is the Divina has a pool bar where you can sit down, grab a drink, and strike up a conversation, but the World America is missing a pool bar with seating entirely. There's a bar where you can order drinks, but then you've got to take them back to your seats, which isn't very conducive to making new friends. And so with all of that, if you're wondering what could possibly make the World America a better experience, the answer is simple. They provided great service. Even with 70% less guests on the Divina, getting somebody to provide drink service was a problem every time I was up there. And the lunch buffet opened 10 to 15 minutes late every single day I tried it. So while the physical space on the Divina may look better on paper, the experience itself just didn't match the design. And the same contrast I saw there seemed to be the theme throughout the entire Yacht Club experience. In the end though, the biggest difference between these two Yacht Club experiences came down to service. On the World America, the Yacht Club team was exceptional from the moment we arrived until the moment we left. Davide, the Yacht Club director, had the entire operation running like a finely tuned machine, and every area of the experience felt coordinated and intentional. At the concierge desk, William and his team were the definition of professionalism. Any question we had was handled quickly and confidently, which gave the entire week a sense of ease. And my butler, Kevin, was easily the best I've had in the Yacht Club. Not only did he handle the normal requests you'd expect, he constantly looked for ways to make the experience more memorable. He'd suggest things he thought we might enjoy, and he was especially great with our kids, always checking in to make sure they were having as much fun as we were. And throughout the rest of the Yacht Club, that same level of care showed up everywhere. Booty and Ron and the Topsail Lounge were exceptional. Erkan, Chef Suresh, Jean-Marc, Neil, Vajish, Savin, the sommelier, and the hostess Karen in the Yacht Club restaurant were all fantastic. And don't let me forget to mention Angie, our server at Ocean House on Ocean Key, because she was so incredibly friendly and just truly amazing with our kids. And throughout the entire week, it never felt like separate departments. It felt like a team operating as one to provide an absolutely incredible experience. The Divina, on the other hand, without a doubt had a few individuals who truly stood out, and Henry and Jason and the Popsail Lounge were fantastic. Nadir, the head concierge, was always helpful and a true professional, and my stateroom attendant Romeo took great care of me and my cabin throughout the week. But overall, the experience never quite came together in the same way. He felt more like a collection of strong individuals rather than a coordinated team. Without that leadership tying everything together, the yacht club experience on the Divina just didn't have the same consistency, and I felt that in pretty much every area throughout the entire week. And ultimately, that brings us to the bigger takeaway from these two sailings. Looking back at these two sailings, the contrast couldn't have been more stark. On the World America, the yacht club experience felt polished in every direction. The spaces were beautiful, the service was coordinated, and the entire team operated like a well-run machine. From Davide leading the program, to Kevin taking care of us as our butler, to Erkan and the restaurant team delivering incredible meals every night, everything just worked. And with a team that operates so well together, this ended up being the best yacht club experience we have ever had, hands down. On the Divina, though, the experience never quite came together in the same way. There were still, without a doubt, some bright spots and crew members that I absolutely cherished, but overall, the service felt inconsistent. It almost felt like the yacht club there functions as a bit of a training ground where talented crew members are still finding their rhythm before eventually moving on to newer ships. And when leadership and execution aren't fully aligned, the experience can feel out of balance even when the individuals are trying their best. And that's ultimately why the team on the World America delivered an experience that will be the new bar we measure yacht club experiences by. Why the Divina was without question the most disappointing yacht club experience I've ever had. That said, even the weakest yacht club experience still had plenty of moments I'm truly grateful for. I made some amazing new friends in Tom and Diane. I connected with crew members I truly hope to see again someday. And any week at sea is still something I'm thankful for. But personally, it's very unlikely you'll see me book the MSC Divina again, but I'm already booked again on the World America. But here's the bad news. Even if you love the yacht club, it's only one part of the cruise experience. The rest of the ship still matters. The shows, the public spaces, the restaurants, and the overall vibe on board, because all of that still shapes whether the cruise is something you'll truly enjoy. But the good news, I just spent the week exploring every corner of the MSC World America, and I've put together a full review showing what the entire ship is actually like beyond the yacht club. So don't stop here, come hang out with me in that one next, where I'll walk you through everything the ship offers, whether the full experience lives up to the hype. I'll see you over there. If you're ready, I am. Let's go.